Caught my parent boss kissing our married colleague. Things get crazier when I almost lost my job and he gets moved with drama before leaving company. I'm still pretty new to working in a big office. It's my first job after school and I'm much younger than most of the people I work with. Everyone is really nice and we get along well. We all work really hard, but we're pretty close as a team. It's kind of like a second family. My job started off as a temporary thing, but now it's permanent. I'm glad because I'm happy with the work and like the people here. We have a couple of managers, one who just started and the other, Bob, who has been around for a while. Before the new manager came, one of my coworkers, Alice, was the boss in charge while they found someone new to do the job. I don't know if Alice really wanted the job long-term or not, but she seems okay now that she's back with the rest of us and she and the new manager get along well. Alice has been really good to me, both when she was in charge and now as my coworker. We're often working together. When she was the boss, I thought maybe she and Bob were dating. You know how you sometimes have a feeling about stuff? Maybe it's because I was new, but I felt like I was seeing something that nobody else noticed. I thought, wow, these two are really close, almost too close. But, it wasn't my business, so I just pretended I didn't see anything. Since Alice stopped being the manager, I haven't seen them together very much. One day I was working with Alice and Bob, just the three of us. I left to get lunch, and when I came back I saw them kissing. They didn't see me at first, so I walked back out of the room, making some noise before I came back in. They jumped apart, looking really surprised. It was pretty awkward the rest of the day. You could practically feel the tension in the air. It felt like everyone was looking at us, even though nobody really knew why things had gotten so weird. The next day, it was like Alice was keeping an eye on me. Things have been strange ever since. Even though we are both still professional, I can just feel the tension. It's almost like there's an invisible wall between us. It's super awkward. I have no idea what to do. Part of me wants to stay out of it, but part of me thinks they need to know they aren't being sneaky enough. Maybe someone else will see them, too? Then things could get even more messy. That would be a whole other level of awkward. Also, even though I think things started when they were just coworkers, Bob is now a manager in our group, even though he isn't Alice's direct boss, and he's married with kids. What if someone else saw him? There would be so much drama and chaos. I like Alice, and I don't want her to get in trouble if this comes out. I heard from another person that Alice broke up with someone she had been with for a long time right around the time I started working here. She's had a hard time. I don't want to do anything that makes her life worse. Any advice would be great. I'm new to this whole office thing and I have no clue what to do. Should I tell Alice what I saw? Or Bob? What if they both get mad at me? They'd never talk to me again. Would I have to leave the office? Should I just ignore it and pretend nothing happened? Does this kind of stuff happen in every office? Is this something that is part of the job? Is this something I just have to learn to deal with? The advice was to keep out of it, so I tried to be as normal as possible with Alice and Bob. I tried to act like nothing happened, but it was really hard. The whole office was filled with tension and awkward silence. Nobody seemed to know what to say, or if they should say anything. We even had a slightly awkward conversation where we both said that day had been weird, and Alice apologized. It's almost like we were both trying to forget it happened, but that didn't work. I think I was aggressively normal. Like people said, and things felt alright for a while. For a few days, at least. But then, unfortunately, things got a lot worse when Bob came back from his vacation. He seemed to be really mad at me. It's hard to say why, but I could only guess it had something to do with what happened. We hadn't really been in the same room since then, mostly because it was a holiday and he was gone. Now, we were constantly bumping into each other. I felt like I was walking on eggshells around him. He seemed to think he could make my life harder, because he was my manager now, and it wasn't going to be easy. It was super obvious, to everyone, that Bob was trying to find things wrong with my work. I'm still pretty new and learning, so it's not like my work was perfect, but he wasn't even my manager and didn't seem interested in helping me get better. It was like he wanted to make me look bad, and he kept pointing out small mistakes to everyone. I felt like Bob was picking on me. He'd tell me I did a great job, then right in front of everyone, he'd pick apart my work, pointing out even the tiniest mistakes. He even complained to the rest of the office. Everyone was super confused. People started asking me about it, but I didn't know what to tell them. I had no clue what was happening, and why Bob was acting so weird, and I felt like everyone was looking at me and wondering what I had done to upset him. It felt like Bob was turning everyone against me. It was so awful. Other people noticed, too, and kept asking me what was going on. It made me feel awful. I cried on several days because I didn't know what to do. I decided to just try and get through it and hope the whole thing would blow over. It was pretty clear I couldn't do this on my own. One day, Poppy, a coworker, came over and we talked about what was going on. I explained that I had seen Bob and Alice kissing, and how I thought it was pretty messed up because he's married with kids and I really like Alice. Poppy was really surprised to hear what happened and she said, "No wonder Bob is acting so weird." She said that it was kind of a well-known secret in the office that Bob and Alice were together. The other employees saw them together a lot, but nobody really knew what was going on. Poppy said she thought everyone was a little scared to say something because they were worried it would be too dramatic. Poppy also shared that she had tried to talk to Alice about what was happening. She told her that she knew it would probably be hard to get out of the relationship. But, Alice was totally committed to Bob. Poppy told her, "Don't make me walk in on you guys. I really like you, Alice, and I want you to be happy." She told me to try and hang in there, and said I could talk to her about anything. She suggested I take a day off, so I went to see my boss and took a long weekend. While I was gone, Poppy sent me a text message asking how I was doing, and it made me feel better about going back to work. Poppy said I should talk to my manager, but I was too embarrassed. I was pretty sure everyone knew, and it was so awkward. When I got back, the whole thing was totally flipped. My manager called me into her office first thing. I thought I was in trouble because of something Bob said or did. I felt like a teenager who was about to get in trouble with my parents. It felt like everything I'd done had been exposed to everyone and now they were all ready to judge me. Instead, she told me she had decided to move me to work on Alice and Poppy's project. She said it was a good opportunity to learn new things, and she promised we would talk about what had happened lately. It was amazing to be away from Bob and his negative energy. Poppy and Alice were so friendly and kind. They showed me the ropes and helped me learn a lot of new skills. My manager has been really supportive too. I love my job and I know how lucky I am. It felt like everyone was happy I was on a new team, and they didn't seem to be bothered by my past, like it was all just a big secret that everyone had to pretend wasn't happening. Before I could really think about it, we all got called to a meeting and Bob announced that he was leaving our team at the end of the week to help another group with some issues they were having. I had to really try not to show how relieved I was. It felt like my whole world had changed. The office was buzzing with rumors. Alice kept a very low profile. I could tell she felt guilty about what had happened. She even apologized to Poppy. Bob left our team and we didn't see him anymore, and I felt so much better. I didn't think I would write an update, but then something else happened that made me realize things had been even stranger than I thought. The job Bob went to is now going to be cut, which everyone was told last week. I found out that Bob knew he was going to lose his job when he went to that other team, and that he's leaving the company at the end of July. He had purposely transferred to another team so he could leave with a little less drama. I didn't know he had a plan. Bob seemed like the kind of guy who was only in it for himself. Last week, I had to go to our headquarters for a training with Poppy, and we talked for a long time. She said she knew about Alice and Bob before I saw them. She had been telling Alice to be careful. Alice had seen Bob acting like he had this secret crush on her, and even though Poppy had tried to talk sense to her, she went along with his charms. After I walked in on them, Alice called Poppy in a panic and told her she was grateful that I didn't make a big deal about it. I couldn't believe that she called her up about it, rather than her boss, who is married to Bob. I guess she just wanted Poppy's support, but it seemed like a risky move to me. Alice never said anything about her and Bob's relationship to anyone at the office. Poppy didn't understand either. From what I understand, when Bob started being mean to me, Alice tried to get him to stop, but it didn't work. She decided to tell our manager, and the head of the whole building, everything about her and Bob and how he was bothering me because he didn't want me to tell anyone. She must have felt terrible that he had acted so badly, so she decided to try and stop him, but he only got worse. She must have thought the best way to handle this situation was to involve management. She didn't want to ruin Bob's life, so she did her best to keep it on the down low, but the situation was so bad she didn't have a choice. The fact that Bob got everyone to think that he should manage me and Alice made things worse, so the whole thing came out to everyone on the days Poppy said I should stay home. Poppy must have explained everything to our manager, and our boss at the whole building. I found out that our boss had had a meeting with Alice and Bob. Bob was so upset that Alice had told everyone about their relationship. He was probably worried about losing his job. Alice was worried that the other workers would see her differently, but her boss assured her that everything would be fine. She told Bob that if he didn't act differently, he would be transferred to a new department. He was going to get fired if he didn't get a hold of himself. I guess that's why he ended up going to that other team, and why he knew he was going to lose his job. He probably felt that Alice had tricked him into going to a team he didn't really want. Bob probably figured that if he was leaving anyway, it might as well be a dramatic exit, with him pointing his finger and accusing Alice of everything, but that really backfired, because he had no one to blame. Alice and I haven't really talked about it all, but she knows that Poppy told me. They aren't together anymore. I won't ask more. Alice seems okay and the office feels a lot more relaxed now that Bob is gone. I know Alice made a bad choice with Bob, and I think she feels bad about it. But, she has always been good to me, and she made sure Bob couldn't keep bothering me. I've learned a lot from all of this and I'm going to keep reading everything I can on that website. It's become my favorite thing to read on the train. There are tons of letters to go through.